Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining me again. I'm in the slightly dark corner of my living room today, talking about a slightly dark subject. Well, Nigel Farage came on the YouTube airwaves, I suppose you could call it, a little while ago, because he had an important announcement to make, and he spent quite a few several minutes talking about yada 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 and all the rest of it. And then when he got to the point of it, which was about immigration or the problems we have around that subject, immigration, migration, everything else, he seemed to drop the ball because he just seemed to want to reiterate all of the stuff that he's already spoken about. And, you know, we've seen him on stage looking very much like this time and time and time again, telling us all what he thinks. And I listened to it, and yes, I'm a critic. I'm the first to admit it. But at the end of the day, there was very little substance, nothing we haven't heard before. Now, I was struck by a post that Rupert Lowe came out with. I think it's very important to share it because at the end of the day, this is such a massive, out of control problem. And Nigel Farage has turned around and said that Reform are not far right. They're a centrist party. There's plenty of videos all over the place of him and other members of Reform saying they are a centrist party. If you're centrist, you're not going to do anything about it. You're not going to do what needs to be done. Drastic measures are needed here. And there's no one with the political balls to do them, basically. I want to read you what Rupert Lowe said, pointing out a very big problem. Have a listen. Well, have a read. We're told that deporting hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants is impossible. Why? Total defeatist rot. Britain has the capabilities. What's missing is a political will and a backbone. Here's how it can be done. Day one, the Great Repeal Act. Sweep away decades of malign and obstructive legislation, including our departure from the ECHR. The law doesn't allow mass deportations. Change the law. We must reinforce ministerial powers to do what needs to be done. No woke activist judge can then stand in the way. Stop the flow. The deterrent would soon speak for itself. But in the meantime, deploy the Navy to intercept the boats and send them back to France. Those who do arrive, they do not remain on the mainland. Detained, offshore processed for transfer, sent home or to a third-party country such as Rwanda if their origin cannot be determined. Whatever happens, they do not stay in the UK. Remove the incentives, scrap the entire asylum system. It's been abused and exploited for too long. I can't argue with any of that screen there, but I do foresee a very major problem with part of it, and we'll come back to that towards the end of this presentation. Here's the second bit. Operation Return. Detain, deport 1 million plus that are here illegally. They all must go. Significantly expand detention infrastructure using former military sites, modular units and offshore facilities. Deport by sea and air. Use cruise ships if necessary for relevant destinations. Construct a number of specialised runways if required near large detention centres on day one. Start hiring and training the staff. It will cost billions to do it properly. That's right. But every penny will be worth it. Leverage. Countries refuse to accept the deportees. Cancel foreign aid. Suspend visa applications. Sanctions on remittances. Enforce tariffs. Do it all with like-minded countries. A deportation NATO. Red list. Implement an immigration red list whereby countries with high levels of visa abuse, security concerns, links to extremism, serious crime, sexual offences, welfare access, cultural concerns and more face significantly higher barriers for entry. Uncooperative with deportations, they go on the list. Be ruthless. I can't disagree with much of that either, really. Maybe where he says it will cost billions, we have to make sure that we don't pay them anything to leave, because the entire process, the entire operation would cost a lot anyway and would take a great deal of time. And again, it's a problem I'll come back to in a minute. Public confidence. Publish a live removals dashboard and require ministers to report monthly progress to Parliament. Show the British people what's happening, why it's happening, and how much it will save in the long term. Here's a clue: a lot. Will this happen overnight? No, of course it won't. But this is only required because decades of inaction has allowed the problem to grow so wildly out of control. So what? Because the issue is now too great, we can't even begin to tackle it? Ludicrous. I say send them home. The mass deportation of illegal migrants is not only possible, it's absolutely necessary. Now, there are many migrants here that have legally come to this country, legally work, legally pay their way, legally own property, legally have families. All fine. These are the ones that come here via other means that don't have any intention to do all of those things I just mentioned. Now, what's the problem with all this? Let's have a look at this screen here. Day one, the Great Repeal Act. I have a problem with the word repeal. Repeal and void are two different things, and we'll come to void in a minute. Sweep away decades of malign, obstructive legislation, including our departure from the ECHR. The law doesn't allow mass deportations. Change the law. We must reinforce ministerial powers to do what needs to be done. Now, the ministers were put there by the voting public. See the thing here? And the other thing as well, change the law. Now, you and I both know that there will be so many lawyers all over the country, which will have massive problems with that first point. There'll be people in the EU playing up. Yes, I know we left the EU. Come off it. We didn't really, did we? And there'll be lawyers all over the place, and getting over that first stepping stone will take absolutely years. Now, all of these deals and all of these laws were made with the United Kingdom. No? So surely it would follow that doing something about the United Kingdom and then removing these individuals quickly and efficiently may be the way to go about it. Look at the Acts of Union, 1706, 1707. That's where the word void comes in. Remove the United Kingdom, all those deals and laws and everything else, gone. We do what we like. Now I've said that, I can see all of you screaming at me saying, we're better off together, we're better off together, blah, 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 blah. Hang on a minute. I never said we shouldn't be together. There are other ways of cooperating and helping each other than a political union, which, let's face it, has got us into a lot of trouble over the last 300 years. There's two examples here. Confederal Union, a loose confederation where England, Scotland and Wales remain sovereign but delegate specific powers, e.g. trade, defence or foreign policy, to a shared body. An example being the EU. You look what goes on over there. A treaty establishing a joint council for agreed areas like free trade currency, if the pound remains, or mutual defence. Each nation would have veto power, preserving their own sovereignty. This is, what's important. Nation sovereignty, national sovereignty. Balances independence with cooperation, flexible to each nation's needs. Risk of gridlock if interests diverge is a con. Another example, a Nordic-style cooperation, a cooperative framework modelled on the Nordic Council, focusing on cultural, economic and environmental collaboration with formal political union. Example, Sweden, Denmark, Norway. Implementation, establish a British Isles Council for regular summits, joint projects, e.g. energy, renewable, but I don't think so. Reciprocal rights, e.g. healthcare access, could include passport-free travel. Pros, lightweight, non-binding, fosters goodwill and practical collaboration. It sounds very much like the way it used to be before the Acts of Union. Cons, lacks enforceable mechanisms, may not satisfy needs for deeper integration. This land, Great Britain, could cooperate quite happily together without all of those deals which we've been tied into. Remove the UK, remove the deals, remove the people. I'm only a simple taxi driver, and it didn't take me long to work that out. Of course, it's more complicated. I'm not saying it isn't, but, drastic times call for drastic measures. If you really want to do this, then surely now is the time. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share the content. As always, I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.